Alright, let's go over this build a little bit in more detail, what the plan is here. Absolution, well, that's the thing you start out with. It will be kind of like an execute, although it isn't really, but it takes the sin off the target, so you just want to use that last. This is just a passive node. Didn't take the ones up here. Another passive node with some stats in there. Then we have here the condemnation, which with our promotion makes us CC immune when we're using this. Skills based on sin, so we gotta apply sin before we go in there. The fervor also makes us CC immune, increases our mitigations and some mana regen. With our promotion class, it also deals damage and applies sin. Then another passive cluster with some stats. Here is the cleansing fire. That is good for a melee because, you know, you're gonna get a lot of damage over time on you. This will remove that periodically, which is kind of nice. Conduction, it's just a passive attack power buff. Duration is 30 seconds and the cooldown is 30 seconds, so in large scale PvP this always will be on you. 300 AP. Flames of Truth, that's our stun. That's our CC. Gotta work with that. The Hellfire Shield, well, it looks complicated, but it just does a little bit of damage. It's also a stun or knockdown, whether you do blast or tornadoes with the promotion class in there, but generally you just pop this for the aura when you engage. And then the promotion is the Sanctifier. Like I said, tornadoes apply a knockdown, Hellfire aura deals more damage and slows, and Fervor gives CC immunity and some other things. Spitting Distance over here, passive that increases the damage of the condemnation, which is the flamethrower in front of us. Meteor Purge has a bit of a cooldown and gives us barriers and increases our personal healing modifier, so we get healed for more when we get healed. Blink of Faith, it is just an engage, teleports us 30-meter range, and then another passive cluster for damage. We didn't take a specific domain in here because there are some good ones for fire in here. Redemption, good single target damage if the enemy has some sin on there. Then the Archon's Disciple, it adds damage over time, fire, and elemental break when you're hit with fire damage, and we combine that with Spreading Flame, which will spread the damage over time, make it easier to apply elemental break AoE. And then last one, just put a passive in here, some Sun Elf Heritage. You get some perception during the day and some increased ranged bonus and attack power. We were full on slots on the bar, so we had to put a passive in here. Sin is nothing on its own. It's just something that you apply to your target with auto attacks or with some abilities. You can tell by the stacking number under the dummy here. It stacks up to 5. Like your auto attacks apply it, and a couple abilities apply it. It's just used as a multiplier for other damaging spells. So that was the build. The way that plays, we can do a little bit of a test run to see exactly what that does. So you engage first by popping your shield. Then you TP in there, you apply this one, so we're CC immune, we're doing AoE damage. We focus a target, we stun him with the first ability, we put damage over time on it, we spread it to the rest, we start burdinating everything around. This is also CC immunity, then we drop some more damage, then there is a single target, 6 fireballs, and finish it off with the Sin, Burn, and then we kinda gotta get the fuck out, right? That's like the burst that you do, and then you wait for some cooldowns again before you re-engage. That's kind of how this plays. Like you could stay in there and just keep spamming abilities, that's fine, but that's kind of how you engage in what you do. You just focus on a target and spread some AoE around, apply some elemental breaks. But that is about the extent of it. You also have your ult to get out, right? You blind things around you, and then you can just skedaddle out of there. As a bit of a showcase of the Sanctifier. There are many ways to build this. I think just going as a melee DPS role, probably the most viable of the ones. I don't think the Sanctifier does anything in specifically better than any of the other classes. It actually does everything a little bit worse, but if you like throwing fire around, you know, you could play this, but I would rate this as like a B tier or something. Stats, you should always max your int, and then you get to choose. You want to go more damage, take strength, or just more constitution, take health. More constitution also scales the barriers that you put on yourself a little bit, so that makes you just a bit tankier. It depends. Do you have a lot of faith in your team to heal you, or do you just want to stay up, sustain yourself a little bit better? It's not a huge difference, but it is a little bit. The barrier that we have now is, what should say on the tooltip, like a 700 barrier. I think if we max out constitution with our remaining stats, it maybe doubles the barrier, something like that. Okay, that's about all the useful things I have to say about the about this build. That's about it.